Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 14th Annual Information Assurance Forum. I'm very excited to be here. I hope you enjoyed the student presentations. They did a wonderful job going over IoT and some of the security risks that are involved. As Lauren said, my name is Tiffany Miracle, and no, I did not pose for that silhouette that was created up there for me. I get asked that question quite a bit, actually. Since you're going to be inundated with information all day long, I'm going to try and keep this intro high level and try to keep it fun. So here we go, defining the Internet of Things. A couple months ago when I sat down to start doing my research for this project, I did what probably anyone else would do, sat down, opened up Google, and typed in define Internet of Things. And this is what I got. Internet of Things, a proposed development of the Internet in which everyday objects have connectivity, allowing them to send and receive data. So now what do we do with that? It seems very boring, very straightforward. So I started thinking about the Internet of Things. And the first time I started hearing those terms, Internet of Things, machines talking to machines, what does all that really mean? What were my initial thoughts? What were my initial perceptions? So, of course, my imagination started running a little crazy, and the machines talking to machines, what would that be like? And, just started thinking about that. And a lot of people go towards Hollywood and start thinking about the movies. Of course, we had the Terminator, where Skynet takes over the world. I didn't go there. Or we have iRobot, which again, robots taking over the world. Or we could go with WALL-E, again, robots taking over the world. So I'm not a very negative person, so I didn't really go there. My idea of what machines talking to machines was more along the lines of the Brave Little Toaster. I don't know how many of you have seen that. It's a 1987 Disney animation, and you've got all these household appliances running around and talking to each other. I'm going to try to hit the play button, but we've been having a little bit of technical difficulty, so it may or may not work. And no, I don't think it's going to. So we will skip that. I was going to show you a little bit of the cartoon where John Lovett is actually one of the characters. He's a radio, and he's running around using his antenna to sword fight with a lamp. And it's very funny, very comical. I'll give you a little bit of comic relief this morning, but we don't have the video, so we will just keep moving on. So there was this man, his name was Kevin Ashton. He's the one that was credited with using the term the Internet of Things when he did a presentation back in 1999. At that time, he was working with the RFID technology in Procter & Gamble's supply chain. So 10 years later, he wrote an article about the Internet of Things and explains his interpretation. And this is a quote from that article. And what he's saying is that computers need to be empowered to collect information without the limitations of human-entered data. And this is what the creators of all of these IoT devices have been working toward, and that's what we're here to learn more about today. So this is a very exciting time in our history. We're seeing the beginning of something big. I kind of think of it as the Industrial Revolution in hyperspeed, because all of this stuff is going to happen very, very, very quickly. So we have all of these hardware vendors that are creating all of these chips and little tiny hardware that can be coded to do specific jobs and collect data and analyze it and respond to it and react on it. This slide is very plain and very boring, so I threw Mandy Patinkin on there to spruce it up a bit. So we also have all of these software platforms that IoT is built on top of. A lot of them are open source. We do have a few closed source ones. Windows 10, Microsoft just threw their hat in the ring there, so I'm kind of excited to see what that's going to be like. Since I used to work there, I'm still very invested in what they're doing. So the Internet of Things is quickly taking shape, and our lives as we know it are going to change forever. So the students talked a little bit about security and some of the different things that have happened home-wise. I threw up a few of the security risks that I've found here in the last year. Some of that stuff is very scary. A steel plant in Germany was hacked, and they were able to take full control of the automated processes there. So there are obvious concerns around security. And if you go searching across the internet, you're going to find a lot more information. According to a study from HP Security Research, 70% of the most commonly used Internet of Things devices had serious security vulnerabilities. 70%, that's a lot. And the crazy thing to me is that all that bad stuff ends up on the internet almost immediately. Everybody hears about it. It's there for everybody to see. So my hope is that if all that information is being put out there on the internet, that people are going to start taking that seriously and becoming aware of these security vulnerabilities and forcing the IoT producers to provide better security around the tools that they are implementing. So here's another quote from Kevin Ashton. "The Internet of Things has the potential to change the world just as the internet did, and maybe even more so. So one thing is certain, our lives are going to change forever, and this change is coming very fast. As more and more information is gathered about each of us constantly, the concept of being offline or unavailable will disappear. Privacy as we know it is going to be redefined. And in fact, we may be the last generation to have true privacy." So that infographic is showing how everything is all connected and all kinds of information is moving back and forth. Technology is going to be constantly gathering information from each of us, analyzing it, and using it to predict our wants and our behaviors. One article that I read in Wired magazine compared what is happening right now with IoT to the metamorphosis of a butterfly. So the quote in the article read, "There is nothing in the caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly." And how true is that about IoT? We have no idea what that final landscape is going to look like. So before you walked in here today, I'm sure you had some idea of what the Internet of Things was in your mind. And I know when you walk out the door this afternoon, you're going to have a lot more information to process through and come up with new ideas of what the Internet of Things means to you. Or maybe you'll just be confused by all the information that you're given, and it'll take you a few days to figure it all out. But in any case, there is no solid definition of what the Internet of Things is yet today. We still have to wait to find out what it's going to look like. So thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the forum. Thank you.